All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, or at least it's morning here for me in Maryland. I hope you're all doing well today. Uh, Let me get myself slightly more comfortable here in my seat. So, hello to Olayeme. Hello to Eleda. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Eleda. Hello, Tulu Walona. Hello, Hannibal. Hello, Siraj. Hello, Aber. Hello, Iman. Hello, Haki. Is it Hockey Cut? I hope I'm saying your name correct. Hello, Collins. Hello, Bala. Hello, Kule. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Yanis. Hello, John. Hello, Abiudan. Hello, Ethio. Hello, Ain. Hello, Suman. Hello, Vishal. Hello, Aditya. Hello, Wambuya. Hello, Rohan. Apologies if I say any of your names incorrectly here. I'm trying my best. Hello, Naga. Hello, Shubham. What do you all want to talk about today? Uh, as a reminder, yesterday, hello Teddy. Yesterday, right, it was mainly talk about admin. Let me say a few things again as a reminder. Um, because there might be a few new people here today. First of all, the only deadline that you have is the deadline of Friday, June 18th. Right? There's no individual mini project deadlines. Right, the suggestion in the email this week is that you can work on the in mini project and the IP mini project. If I recall correctly, you could. This was the suggestion. You could start to work on the IP. Yes, the in mini project and IP mini project. As another reminder, these are the graduation requirements because I know these things are important. In order to pass the course, receive a badge, you have to achieve a score greater than 0 for every question in every mini project. And to get your badge with honors, you have to have an average score of 0.9 or greater across every question in every mini project. Uh, so yes, we could. I'm open to suggestions as to what you want to talk about today. There's a question about the course syllabus. There's a question here about the IP mini project. Apologies for my poor writing. I'm using a mouse to write here, which is not the easiest thing to do. So let me say a few things about the syllabus. Let me find my lists. So the syllabus, I'm not going to, go through the entire syllabus. But this week, as you know, the videos are largely talking about the notebooks, the PY program flow, and the PY data structures. So this is week 1. Week 2, the videos will be talking about PY algorithms, and the PY object-oriented programming notebook. So this is week 2. And week 3, talk about PY, the Pythonic notebook. And the DS IO. That's a poorly written I. So this is week 3. And then, week 4 and week 5, we basically do the rest of the DS notebooks. And then we get into the DW notebooks. I'm sorry, I'm a bit wrong. I'm sorry, that's the DW mini project. Yeah. So we talk about the DS notebooks for the rest of the course. So so this is the kind of first 3 weeks of this course. So again, week 1, PY program flow, PY data structures. Week 2, the algorithms and OOP. And then the Pythonic notebook, and then we start getting into the DS notebooks. Seth asked a question, to be able to participate in machine learning, do you need to get an honored badge? No, that's not a requirement to get an honors badge, although of course it will, I guess, strengthen your chances of being accepted. Doug asked a question, what does it say? Well, when you run some code, you see this. When you run a cell, this just basically means that the kernel is busy. So this is just saying, well, as I said, this is symbol for the busy kernel. The kernel is operating, is doing some sort of calculation. You should see if you run a cell, it will change to this brackets with an asterisk, and then when it's done, it'll change to a brackets with a number in it. So yeah, that's a busy kernel. ETO asked a question, does the video shared with Google Drive will be inaccessible and removed from the World Quant website? So let me explain what will happen here. So throughout the weeks of this course, more videos will be added here to this schedule. More videos will be added into the shared folder here. And we'll add in office hour videos into the office hour notebook. When the next session of Unit 1 begins, These videos right here will be moved out of this shared folder into a shared folder for the next cohort. But these links here on YouTube won't change. There is a playlist of these whole videos for the whole session. I will locate that playlist. Yeah, these videos linked from here are the same as the videos to be found in the shared folder. Right, so yeah, there's the basic programming and variables is, well, this basic programming and variables here. So, as I said, let me make a note to myself here. There's a YouTube playlist for all of the videos in Unit 1. That YouTube playlist won't disappear. And the videos here in the shared folder, they will, as I said, more will be added as the weeks go by. But then when we get to the next Unit 1 cohort, the videos will start moving out of this folder into a new folder for those. So if you want to get copies of these videos by copying them here, well, do so, more or less by the end of this cohort. But this YouTube playlist of these videos will remain, and yes, I will find that playlist link and can share it, say, on the Q&A board. The playlist of office hours will remain. So if you copy this link to this playlist of office hours videos, you will have them, forevermore until YouTube falls over or the sun implodes, whichever happens first. So, yeah, there is, I believe there's some WhatsApp group that's been formed, or Discord group, or you would have to check these messages here because I don't know. Giannis, yeah, no more Jupyter notebooks will be uploaded here to your Jupyter pod. These are all the notebooks that are present already for the course. Ren's there. I double checked with my colleague, and there actually are no mini projects in Unit 1 where you could get a grade higher than 1. It is possible in Unit 2, but not in Unit 1. I need to change that text in the mini project as it's incorrect and it's incorrect and misleading. So yeah, there are no questions on many projects in Unit 1 where you could get a grade higher than 1. Right, so there is some questions about the IP mini project. I don't know if there are specific questions. Let me first remind you about how you submit to the grader. Right, so in Python, in the Python folder, in mini projects, here are 3 of the mini projects that you have to do. Someone asked, I believe, how many mini projects are there? There's 5 of them. There's 5 mini projects. No, data wrangling and Python do not have the same mini projects. They share the in mini project. If we go to data wrangling and look in mini projects, you see it has in, but data wrangling has DW and PW. Whereas Python has IN, IP, and VC. So let me remind you, let's have a look again at the in mini project. This is one I talked about yesterday. If you load it up, this is what it looks like. The logging here should start automatically. We need to let me restart and clear output so you can see what's happening here when I do things. So if I run this cell right here to import the grader, this is the grader is the custom bit of code that we wrote for the grader. As we said here, the grader, basically this is how you submit something like to the grader. You'll see things of the form grader.score.question name and some answer. The question name will be different for each question. And as it said, is provided for you. The answer here is, something that you have to supply. As we say, the form of the answer will vary from question to question. Sometimes you are asked to submit a fixed value. Submit this number or this list of numbers. Or a dictionary, say. Other times you'll be asked to submit a function which will compute something based on some input. Like we have some inputs we want to test your function on. And your answer will be graded and you will get a score from 0 to 1. So yeah, this right here does not apply to Unit 1. There are no questions in Unit 1 mini projects where you could get a score greater than 1. As I said, I need to remove this bit of text. This is here, I think, because of Unit 2. But you get a score between 0 and 1. We keep track of your highest grade. Hakikat, no, you don't need to share your mini projects after getting your grade. Right? Essentially, your grade is the score you get on your mini projects. Right? If you come back out here to the control panel and you look under grades, you can see your highest recorded score on each question on the mini projects. This is essentially all that you need to worry about in terms of passing this course or passing with honors. So, right, and as we said, we always keep track of your highest grade. Yeah, Duida, we could get to the Mersenne Primes questions first, soon. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone understands the grader and how to submit. So as I said, you can retry your mini project questions, each individual question. You could basically try them as much as you want with certain restrictions. As I mentioned yesterday, if you submit too fast too often, you will get a message saying that you have submitted too fast and too often. That's just a kind of reminder, well, slow down a bit, think about your solution before you kind of blindly submit. I believe we have it's if you submit more than 3 times a minute, you'll get basically it's an error, say slow down. I believe we still have our cap on submissions in a 24-hour period. Which is something like 50 or 60 submissions. I can't remember the exact number. And this is in like any sort of 24-hour period. It's kind of a rolling window, If you submit too much within a 24-hour period, again, you'll basically say, well, sorry, come back later. So I guess maybe the point is don't wait until the very end to submit everything. But so like this first problem well, compute the 5 smallest positive even numbers, provide these in a list. Max, I just told you that this is actually an error. There is no way that you could score better than 1 on any question in Unit 1. So apologies for the misleading statement. It is possible in Unit 2, but not in Unit 1. So don't bother trying to score better than 1. Problem 1, compute 5 smallest positive even numbers. Provide these in a list. ECO, yes, you could submit all the projects in the next week. Yep, if you want to do so, you can do that. So here the answer is a fixed value, so you can compute or hard code the answer and submit it. And basically, I think in all of our problems, we provide a kind of dummy solution. The idea, as it says, the dummy solution illustrates the correct format of the solution. So in this case, a list of 5 numbers, right? This gives me a list of 5 numbers, which are all 0 in this case. Right, this would give me a list of 5 numbers. So this was provided to you by us, right? And it said this is just the kind of format of the solution. And yeah, sometimes, as we say, if you're encountering an error when you try to submit a solution to the grader, double check that your answer has the same structure as the dummy solution, i.e. in this case, a list of 5 numbers. Here we want the 5 smallest positive even numbers. Well, all right, I know what those 5 numbers are. I can make a list. So I can make a list, I can save them to this variable, and here's how I can do the submission to the grader. Right, this calls the grader with the appropriate name of the problem, with our answer, and well, you get a score between 0 and 1. Right, if I had something wrong, oh, this is not an even number, well, my score is smaller than 1. However, as I said, we record the highest grade that you have achieved. So if I were to come back out here and say, and I were to reload this page, and look at my grades, well, I still have a grade of 1. Even though this submission, my score was only 0.8, right? I've achieved a 1 previously. And we record the highest grade. So as we said, right, if we count your highest grade, so try out different solutions. You say, oh, well, here's a way I could get a solution. Oh, maybe there's another, right, if I have to write some set of functions to find a solution, maybe there's a different way I could write these functions to find the same solution. So feel free to try things out. Right, if you've achieved that, score of 1, Ahmed, again, you could submit an answer for the mini project as often as you want, with some rate restrictions. As I mentioned yesterday, if I submit, and I submit, and I submit again, and I submit too quickly, you'll get this kind of error message. Right, if I submit too often, too quickly, I'm rate limited. Right, but I've been rate limited for exceeding the limit of 3 per minute. But if I wait, if I go and I get myself a drink and come back, and then I could start submitting again. As I said, I believe we still have our submission rate. You could be rate limited if you submit too often in a 24-hour period. But that limits 50 or 60 submissions in a 24-hour period. So if you're submitting that much, well, again, don't wait till the last minute to submit your solutions to all the mini projects. Don't be doing this on the 18th of June trying to finish up everything in the last part. Let me see here. There's a question, does the algorithm part cover the dynamic programming? I don't believe we talk about dynamic programming in particular. We talk somewhat about some big O notation. We talk a little bit about, let's see here, finding algorithms, finding binary search. Oh, all right. Well, we do a little bit of dynamic programming, although we may not use the words dynamic programming. In the PY algorithms, we talk a little bit about what could be referred to as dynamic programming. Shubham, yes, as I said, we keep track of the highest grade you've achieved. So even if you achieve a grade of 1 and you want to try again to see if you get a different way of finding the same solution and you score lower, well, we still record your highest grade you've achieved so far. Suman, could we talk about the main differences between Python and other programming languages, like C and C++, which is better? Better might depend upon what it is that you're trying to optimize. So, for example, let's just consider Python and the C programming language. C, the C programming language, is if I were to write a program in C and write like a similar program to do the same thing in Python, generally the C program is going to run faster. However, this is a kind of general statement, right? Generally, C is going to run quicker than an equivalent Python program. So C is basically faster. If you look at the amount of code you have to write, probably in general, I'm going to have to write less code if I write the Python program. So I'm probably going to have to write more code to do the thing in C than I would have to write if I had to do it in Python. I mean, that's two differences. One of my colleagues likes to say sometimes, what are we trying to do often in programming? Well, we want to minimize the sum of the programmer's time and the running time of an algorithm. Well, Python, I generally have to write fewer lines of code to do the same thing in C or other languages. So there are trade-offs. Jide, I cannot help you by giving you your username and password. I believe you said you contacted the DS module WorldQuant email address. I can't give out. I don't have access to usernames and passwords. CPython is basically more or less a Python interpreter that's been written in C. There are some libraries in Python which are written actually in C. Essentially like the standard library. Well, under the hood, Python is actually, implemented in C. And so CPython is basically, a particular implementation of the Python programming language. So yeah, I would generally agree with Irfan's comment. Every programming language generally has its own advantages and disadvantages. And yeah, Python is good. Python is a good general purpose language. It has good tools for data analysis. If I want to do data analysis, well, I have my libraries like NumPy and Pandas to do data analysis. If I want to do optimization, like mathematical kinds of optimization, well, I have libraries like SciPy, and say something like stats models. If I want to do machine learning in Python, I have scikit-learn. If I want to draw visualizations, graphs, charts, figures, whatever in Python, well, I have Matplotlib, or I have Altair, or I have Seaborn, or I have Bokeh. So there's lots of options, to do things. If I want to write websites in Python, well, I could do this using Flask. So there's lots of different tools available in Python. If you need a tool to do something which isn't in the standard library, probably someone might have written a library to help you do this kind of thing. If I want to use Python to get information from Twitter, there are libraries that can help me do that. Joshua, there are no additional mini projects that will be added. You have all 5 mini projects already available on your Jupyter pod. Um, we are not going to talk about R or SAS. Is Flask easier than Django? I probably can't comment on that. I've written some things in Flask. I've not written things in Django. I have done some programming in R. I do not like the R programming language, but that's my personal point of view. Problem 2. So what is problem 2 in this in-mini project here? So problem 1, you had to write a list, a kind of fixed answer. And I think this answer, this should actually work if you give the correct solution in any order. Right, here's the first 5 even numbers. I've not written them in, the normal order. But if I submit, if I redefine even numbers and I submit, I still get a solution of 1. James, as I've said a few times already, no, the only deadline for the submission of the mini projects is the deadline of June the 18th. So can I share a document on important Python libraries? I'm not sure I have a document. I could probably put one together though with some examples. So again, I'm making another note to myself. Important Python libraries. So that's 2 things for me to locate or do. Can you proceed and watch videos of upcoming weeks and complete many projects of Unit 1 early? Yes. So yes, give me a day or 2 and I could probably put together a little post or something on the Q&A board about here's some important Python libraries. A few of them will be talked about and mentioned in the notebooks, like the collections library is quite useful to know about. Sorry, let me get back here to the in-mini project problem 2 just to demonstrate here. Here you want to define a function that accepts a list as input, and we return a list where each element is multiplied by 10. So the idea, again here, you want to write a function. You want to write a function which will take a list of numbers as input and return a list of numbers as output. And the idea, you could see here, you want to define a function, and you're actually giving the name of this function to the grader. And the idea is, the grader is going to take your function and run it on some secret input to check and make sure that your function is working correctly. Right, so this is something else that our grader, might do. Some questions you might say, write a function to do this, that, or the other. And then you supply the name of your function to the grader. And, again, it will run your function on some secret input to check and make sure that your function is working correctly. So, hello, Peter. Glad to see you again here. Hope you're doing well. Right, you would want to fill in code for this function. This will return a list of numbers of the correct length, but this is going to return all zeros. So again, this is like our dummy input. This would, our dummy answer, sorry. This would give us the format, this would give us the correct format, but it's not going to give us the correct answer. I will leave this until tomorrow. We could talk about this problem tomorrow. I don't want to, what I would do is I would write a list comprehension right here to answer this question. Why are some inbuilt methods, like some work faster than a for loop and adding? Well, it depends upon how the method is, built. Is there a faster method than on? Not really. Mohammed asks a good question, which I will address now, because yes, you might have accidentally overwritten a file. I deleted some part of a file. Well, Mohammed, there's a way that you could do this. Let me come back here to my server. This is going to require typing in some Unix commands. Our system is implemented, you are actually running on you're running on a virtual machine, but this is running a version of Unix. So if you want to recover a file, you could do the following thing. So if you come here to your file menu, and over here on the right, I'm always slightly annoyed because you can't see the cursor on my window, but if you come over here to the right where it says New, and you click on New, this opens up a menu. Now you want the option of Terminal. So Terminal, and this will load up a Unix terminal for you right here. And I can type commands into this terminal. For example, if I type in the command ls, this gives me the list of files, or ls-l, this gives me a list of files with some more information about these files. Now what I need to do is I need to change into the data course directory. To change into the data course directory, I want the command called cd. cd for change directory. cd space data course, and hit enter. And now I'm in the data course directory. And I could do ls-l again, and I could get a list of files that are in this directory. And I want the update modules.sh script. I want to run this script. Suppose that I want to kind of recover the Python notebooks, the data in the Python directory. Well, I could do this by using this update modules script. To do that, I need to run this script. I need to run the script, and to do that, I need to type in a period and a slash, and then I can say update modules. And if I want to update the modules in the Python directory, I type in the word Python. If I want the ones in data wrangling, well, I type in data wrangling with the hyphen. I should be able to do them both at once. Data wrangling. This is going to run this script, and it's going to download new files. Alright, it only did, I thought I could do more than one, but apparently only one. Alright, this downloaded fresh copies of the notebooks in a new directory called python.new. If I were to come back over here and go back into data course, you see I have python.new. I have fresh copies of all the notebooks, including the mini projects. Well, it doesn't erase everything in the Python directory. It keeps everything in the Python directory, creates a new Python directory. If you were to do this again, however, it would overwrite everything in the python.new directory. So yeah, you know, if you do this, well, and say you start working on these notebooks, well, save those elsewhere, right? If I did this again, I would erase everything in this python.new directory. I believe. I haven't done this in a while. If I tried this update modules again, then, you know, yeah, it puts everything again in this python.new directory. So yeah, if you know, here, if you now you want to say copy things from the python.new into, like, say, Python or into some other directory, in case you have to do this again. You could do the same thing for data wrangling, right? I could say /update modules data -wrangling, and it will download the data wrangling. Right. So I have 13 minutes. Let's say here, let's talk about a little bit about the IP mini projects. People seem very excited to talk about the IP mini project. So this is IP, I think, is our introduction to programming. IP, introduction to programming. So don't forget to import the grader. So the idea here, yeah, as it says, we want to develop your ability to use iteration and conditional logic to build reusable functions. Right, there's as I said, we have a get primes example from the program flow notebook for testing whether numbers are prime. Right, so I can load up this program flow notebook. Somewhere in here, prime. We have a, like, you know, is prime function, for example. We have our get primes, we have is primes. Print this, print that, some exponents. I have 15 matches. I have a function for is prime. Print primes, prime lists, more prime lists, more prime. So, sorry, let me address Vamshis. You've applied for Unit 2, but not yet completed Unit 1. I'm pretty sure you complete this, but allotment of badges is after the starting of Unit 2. Basically, there will be time. You know, we basically don't do admissions for Unit 2 until after the 18th of June. So yes, if you apply for Unit 2 and you complete Unit 1 in time, then, you know, you'll be eligible for admission to Unit 2. Basically, I believe if you, like, complete Unit 1, you're basically automatically admitted to Unit 2. So just, you know, work on finishing the mini projects by that June the 18th deadline. And if you've already applied for Unit 2 and you finish everything by the 18th of June, there should be no problem. So what are we doing here? So we want to extend get primes, etc., etc. It's too slow to test every possible factor to determine if it's a prime, so we want to take a different approach eventually. Zen, I'm not certain what you mean. I mean, right, remember if you print out a very long list, so if I say Z is list of range of 100, if I print out Z, it looks like it's in this format, but this is actually this is a flat list. It's just that it's too much to print on one line. So this is a a sort of flat list. So that's fine. It's just if I have a short list, it'll print it out in that kind of format. It's only if I have a long list, well, it prints it out what looks like a different format. So, I mean, Zen, I don't think you have to change anything. And it's kind of a difference if you use print Z versus just putting in Z by itself. So Mersenne numbers, yeah, these are special numbers. As I said here, this is a number that can be written as 2 to the power p minus 1 for some prime p. And so we want to write a function that accepts an exponent and returns the corresponding Mersenne number. So, well, right, how would I write a function that accepts an exponent p and returns the corresponding Mersenne number? Well, how do I do an exponent in Python, right? If I want to take 4 and raise it to the third power, it's this asterisk asterisk kind of notation, right? 4 to the third power, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Right, this is how I do exponentiation in Python. So this Mersenne number, well, I want to compute 2 to the power p and subtract 1. Well, 4 cubed minus 1, this follows the order of operations. So yeah, there's some suggestions. Yeah, I will return 2 asterisk asterisk p minus 1. Oops, for some reason I've managed to comment this out. Right, I could say, well, I could test this out. Mersenne number 5. As we said here, right, 2 to the 5th power minus 1 is 31. Mersenne number 10 is 1023. Mersenne number of 100 So Mersenne numbers can only be prime if their exponent is prime. So make a list of the Mersenne numbers for all primes p between 3 and 65. And as we said, this is where it could be useful to modify the is prime, get prime for use in this problem. As we said here, well, we have some reminders, right? This is how you can make a list. This is how we can make a list. We could say take an empty list and append to it. We could basically take our is prime function here from this notebook. I could copy this and paste this here, right? I'm basically just reusing this code. All right, maybe we'll leave this. Right, is this a prime number? Well, you know, what is a prime number, right? It's the number that's only divisible by 1 and itself. 1 is not considered a prime number. Just partly for convenience sake. Otherwise, we wouldn't have unique factorization of numbers, and many other statements might say, well, for any prime other than 1, so, well, let's just define a prime number to not include the number 1. So here is a function for, you know, determining if something is a prime number or not. Let's split this cell. I could define this. I could try this out. Is prime 21? False. No, 21 is not a prime number. Is prime 13? Yes, 13 is a prime number. So yeah, Giannis, yeah, absolutely reuse code from, you know, notebooks. Right? As we said, it may be useful to modify the is prime and get prime functions for use in this problem. I mean, you could certainly write your own version of this function. I mean, that would be good practice. Is prime 193? True. Okay. Is prime 101? Oops. Is prime, if I could spell, is prime 111? Well, no, because it's divisible by 3. So the is prime here seems to be working. Well, that's good because we basically copied and pasted. Get primes, well, is prime 2? Is prime 2? True. Two is prime, yes. Okay, good. Basically, what's going to happen if I put in 2, the if statement here will be skipped over. This for loop right here is going to not be processed at all because I'd have 2, 2. This range right here is empty. And so we would skip down here and return true. And 2 is a prime number, right? 2 is the only even prime number. I want to write a function to get primes. Say between these 2 points. I mean, it depends upon what you mean by between. Do we include this ending number? Do we not include this ending number? Well, I mean, it's up to us to decide. Let's say, let's write some comment here. returns the prime numbers between including n start and n end. Suppose I want to check both the starting number and the ending number right here. Brianna's asked a mathematical question, which, if I understand your question, is, well, right, you know, if p is a prime number, then there's the Mersenne number, and is that Mersenne number a prime number always? I believe the answer to that question is no. I think there's Mersenne numbers. This notebook can be found if you go under Data Course and Python and mini projects. This is where you'll find the IP notebook. And I'm out of time today, so I'm going to have to leave things there for today. And we could, fill in this kind of function tomorrow, right? I've written a little docstring, what I would refer to as a docstring, to describe this function, but I haven't yet filled in the code to return this. So I'm going to end things there for today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Because I have to go do another lecture in half an hour. So thanks for the questions, thanks for the participation, and I will see you tomorrow.